Hello, everyone. It's Chat with Mac. We are glad to have you. Thank you to everyone that watches, our show on a week by week basis. We appreciate you. Good afternoon, Nadine. The days just go quickly.
Yeah, it's a great afternoon. It's kind of
Yeah,
hot, but other than that, it's pretty good.
it's pretty good. Yeah.
Next week I think is gonna go even faster than the last week.
Oh yeah. Been a lot of excitement around Copilot, and it looks like we're finally on the cusp of it being released. The pricing, man, it seems a little steep. So maybe you could give us a little bit of a refresher on what Copilot is, one, and your thoughts on the overall pricing.
Microsoft over the years has been adjusting pricing to differentiate between the enterprise plans versus the small business plans, right?
Mm,
There was not a lot of differentiation. Originally, the small business plan, a similar small business plan would run around $12.50 a month, and then the E3 plan would run around $20 a month, right? The differentiation wasn't there. You got a lot more for that $20. So and a lot of times small businesses were actually going with the enterprise plans. Pricing was good and you got a lot more for than what you were paying for. So Microsoft realized this, right? They've kind of cornered the market now. So now they're thinking let's right size the pricing, differentiate between the enterprise and the small business. AI based stuff, the Copilot engine, it's really going to be more for enterprise. And if somebody does need the functionality, the AI functionality, then Microsoft is saying let's try to move them in the direction of going with the enterprise plans as opposed to going with the small business and then adding on Copilot,
hmm
which if you look at some of the pricing info that's coming out, is going to cost you a lot more if you have a small business plan and you try to add Copilot as opposed to just going with the enterprise plan. Keep in mind with the enterprise plan, it's not just the capability as far as additional security options, certain things like that. A different Azure plan, it lets you do some more security related things, but also with the enterprise plans you get unlimited archive and in your for your mailboxes. So it's like a
Wow.
never ending archive. And now you combine that with Copilot, it's going to be it's pretty much going to be a no-brainer for anybody out there. Now, the other side of the equation is, why is it so expensive to get Copilot? Like if you look in the small business plan to add Copilot, it's like $30 per month is what's being thrown around. So
Yeah.
for that $30 a month per user, there's a lot more heavy lifting that the data centers have to do on the back end. Because for each organization that's in this plan, the large language model is being trained on the content for that organization. So think about like a farm of servers running and processing this to make the large language model learn to to give you appropriate answers and give you the right recommendations based on your content. So it's not like it's generic content like chat gpt. That's generic content unless you spin your own, and if you spin your own, then now you have to invest in all that compute power. So Microsoft's already investing in that compute power, but the reason they're charging for that is because they have to learn from your content for each tenant that enables Copilot. And I think with going with the E3 plan is just the way to go. E3 or E5, it's really well priced, and it was the time is right to differentiate the enterprise plans from small business plans.
You talked about the differences between ChatGPT and yeah, you just talked about it, and it kind of hit me. You said, with ChatGPT, it's more generic. Copilot, you're saying that it's learning. Is it learning at a different pace than ChatGPT, or maybe I'm not getting that because
So it's not really learning at a different pace. It's think about it like this. Think about So when you think about ChatGPT, ChatGPT is already pre-trained on a bunch of generic things, right?
Okay.
So it can pretty much answer about anything, right? Because it's generic. Copilot is going to be trained on your specific enterprise content,
Mm.
right? So it will know your meeting with so and so customer is probably related to this PowerPoint presentation, so it can kind of
Wow.
relate all of that, right? So when you're in a PowerPoint, trying to create a new presentation, you can tell it, hey, create me a sample presentation for my meeting with so and so company tomorrow at 8 a.m. It already knows who the details of that company, because it can see your calendar, it can see you have an appointment tomorrow with so and so company. Now it
Wow.
can generate the appropriate content because it has access to all the Word documents, the Excel spreadsheets, all the data to be able to create that PowerPoint presentation for you. So think of it like a customized chat GPT around your content.
That's amazing. And
Yeah.
that's got to be a game changer for individuals that are, on a day by day doing the presentations, or even the support staff, that has to, put things together for machine learning. And this is it's amazing because I'm over here thinking, hearing Nadeem say, I want to say it was damn near 2 or 3 years ago, where yeah, it was almost about that time where you were saying that there was going to be a time where AI or technology was going to streamline those mundane tasks. And man, we're here. That's just
Yeah.
crazy to me.
Yeah,
Wow.
and now if you follow some of the AI channels, around the interwebs, um, so you're going to see that the business landscape is changing because of AI. The entire landscape is changing because of AI. What's
Mm-hmm.
happening is these smaller startups, the smaller, nimbler companies are now able to much easily and better compete with the larger heavyweights because of AI. So these large heavyweights might have a lot of resources as far as human capital goes, but these newcomers are using AI to basically do what 10 or 1,000 humans would be doing, and they're able to do it much better, much more efficiently, and they're able to do it consistently. And that's the thing. Humans have an issue with consistency. A machine is not going to have that issue. It's a machine. So, it can make that perfect cookie every time the same way like you want it. Business landscape is changing. The entire structure of the economy is going to change. I mean, in the next 5 years, we're going to have some tremendous changes. There's not going to be that problem that exists right now where a small company has a tough time competing with a large heavyweight.
Mm.
One of the other things that goes hand in hand with that is the churn of businesses is going to be much faster now because of AI.
Wait a minute. Let's back up there. You said the churn of businesses is going to be a lot faster?
So a lot of businesses are going to be coming and going. So
Holy
the
crap.
like when certain business, like if you look at the top 10 businesses in the world, that top 10 is going to keep changing a lot faster because of AI,
Mm.
because newer startups are going to be able to compete much better. Not only that, but a single person company with a bunch of AI resources behind it can now very easily compete with a large multinational enterprise. That is going to be something fairly new, because in the past you have to have the resources to be able to compete with some of the heavyweights, but now a lot of those resources, so to speak, the grunt work is going to be get done by AI. So it really kind of inverts that pyramid, puts it upside down, and allows newer companies to basically come to the forefront and compete better. And innovation is just going to go through the roof. I mean, just think about it.
Wow.
The pace of innovation is just going to go through the roof. And then with that innovation, companies are going to invest more, and they're because the competition is going to increase. Look at what's happening between Nvidia and Nvidia coming up with the new AI chips, and then on the other hand, look at, I don't know if you heard about, but the Tesla's Dojo compute system for AI. So it's like,
That's
pretty
what.
soon it's like Nvidia, and then there's Tesla. It's like, the company, people don't relate to AI, right? Well, actually, where the CEO says, "Hey, AI is going to destroy humanity," right? And all of a sudden now they're investing in what they're calling the
Well,
Dojo
it's
compute.
Elon Musk. I don't. Yeah, that's a whole nother topic on a whole nother day with
Yeah,
that guy. But
right.
anyway,
But the thing is that they are investing a lot of money in AI because they
mm,
do see that AI can really help, for example, with their full self-driving. And I think, of course, it was Elon that got back on Twitter and put something out there that what they figured out, full self-driving,
mhm.
it was much easier than they had anticipated. But of course, once you discover something new, it's always easy. It's the discovery that
Yeah,
so finally, I mean, they've been hitting this their head on the wall, and finally they figured out how to implement FSD. And 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 along the same lines, their new dojo compute comes into play. So which is, without that, they would have to spend a lot of money getting Nvidia chips, right? That's the only other competition we have, right? I mean, that's the only other alternative to, either you buy the compute power or you build your own. So they decided to build their own. Industry is going to shift. The idea is, I can launch a company, something new, like, let's say we do something new, and have a bunch of AI modules doing things, and be able to compete with the large companies out there. For example, I'm just going to throw out an example. Nobody copy this, but here's an example. So there are companies out there that are doing news releases. These companies employ a bunch of people who will call, they will review each news release, and they'll call up the customer, and then they'll say, okay, well, these are some of the issues. Okay, yeah, you want it as it is. And then they go ahead and publish it. That can be all AI driven. Now, we're not talking about small companies. We're talking about multinational enterprises who are doing this. A single person can now come online, start a company, do all this AI based, provide a better, more consistent service than the people who are using people to do that work,
mm,
right?
mm,
So that's the thing, is AI is just going to shift entire. Now, I'm just thinking this is what my mind is thinking. This is just my brain, but there are things that our brains haven't even comprehended yet what we can do with AI. We
that's
haven't even
true.
thought about it.
That's
And
true.
that's the thing that really is going to change the world, is things that we don't know yet that we are going to know. And of course, you don't know what you don't know, so we don't know what we don't know.
That's true.
But the industry as a whole, the landscape, the economies, everything is just going to shift so dramatically that we haven't seen in the history of humanity, not just last 100 or 1,000 years, in the history of, I would say, beyond humanity, in the history of life on Earth.
Jeez.
It's going to be that fast. So truly, we are at that cusp of, and it all started with ChatGPT, right? When OpenAI discovered how to, teach large language models, that's really what changed the world. It's just going to basically put the whole business world on its head, and competition is going to get fiercer. Um,
Yeah.
the the other side of it is things like how many partners you need in a company of a certain size. Those kind of base metrics are going to change, where you had to have 3 or 4 partners in a company of a certain size. Now you can just do it with one partner, right? Because everything else can be AI driven.
This is crazy. I get you. Actually, Nadeem, we're gonna have to. The next chat with Mac we're gonna have to do is about Dojo. When you talked about, I didn't even know about it, and as you're talking, I looked it up. I'm like, oh, Nadeem absolutely has to talk about this. If Elon can pull this off, this is, man, this thing is. I don't even have the words to describe what this thing is. It's crazy. It's I mean it's a I know from what I'm reading it's a supercomputer, but uh, it's supposed to have neural net training and autonomy that's at a scale that's never been seen. You're gonna have to help us that's over the head what that means because this is crazy. And and ladies and gentlemen, I got to put that disclaimer out there because I know a lot of people when we talk about AI they get scared and yada. This isn't that, but this is so interesting in that just reading what Elon is looking to do. I wonder what some of the other applications outside of training the driverless cars, what it will have. From the little bit I've read, this is amazing. So yeah, you're definitely
and
definitely going to
one
have.
of the just in that amazing realm of things, I think if I remember correctly, somebody, I forget who it was, but somebody did a test for investments, predicting investments in stocks, and have AI invest in stocks, and they made a bunch of money doing that. So that's the other thing. I mean, like, hey, so basically, he who has the most capable AI system makes the most money. Is that it?
Nothing wrong with that.
But we'll come back to that. But
Yeah, yeah.
as far as today's topic goes, I think Microsoft is making the right decision to differentiate their enterprise plans from their small business plans better.
Yeah.
Because right now there's a lot of murky area, like you can spend 12.50 or $15 a month, or you can spend $20 a month, and what do you get for that $20 a month? A lot of small businesses actually just go with that $20 a month because of some of the things that they want in the enterprise. But now if Copilot is available as in the base subscription for enterprise plans, but you have to pay extra under the small business plans, that's a no-brainer. I think we're going to see a lot of uptake in companies who are using the enterprise plans. I mean, I can already think of a few customers that we have that will want to go with enterprise plans. People who have a lot of work that's human intensive, things like creating documentation, creating articles, knowledge-based stuff, things like that. AI can do all that if it has access and context around your content. Then AI can definitely do that, and probably can do that better. And we all know it'll be faster, but can probably do that better than any human will, because it will understand the context and the technology and the everything behind what you're talking about, right? The thing about human is one person is going to be a little different than the other person. But with AI, it's going to be, no matter which AI creates it, unless it's trained differently, it's going to have the similar result. So I think that's really, just a few weeks ago when we did the last AI based chat with Mac, we were not at this point where now we know Dojo is going to come online.
Right.
Somebody has done an investment and found they can make money by having AI invest in stocks, because it can predict. That's all AI is, predictability, right? It's predicting stuff. So hey, if it can predict stocks, great. So that happened. I think last time we knew about Nvidia's new chips that came out, so we knew about that.
Yeah.
But now with Tesla's Dojo, is that going to compete with Nvidia's chip? I mean, how is that going to work? I mean, that's
they're making their own. Let's not get into that, because that's a whole nother subject.
Yeah.
I really want to talk about that, because that's something else. But one thing in regards to what you're talking about with Microsoft, and it's interesting because they were talking about well, a lot of companies put off on adopting it, in the short term because of the pricing. But based on the testing that they've done with some of the companies, KPMG, Lumen, they're saying that they are absolutely loving Copilot, and they don't think
it's
people
going to be
are
a
going to
game
work
changer.
without it. Yeah.
It's going to change how we do our daily work.
Yeah.
How we create documents, presentations, how we do calculations in Excel. It's going to change all of that.
Mm. Wow.
It's almost like a Clippy on steroids, what Clippy was meant to
Clippy.
be. So back then when somebody thought of Clippy, the idea was right, but the technology just wasn't there.
Yeah.
Now the technology is there. So hopefully, that kind of puts things into context as far as Copilot goes and the pricing structure for Copilot. It's better differentiation between the E plans and the small business plans, enterprise and the small business plans. Hopefully, this chat helps somebody out making the right decision. If you are not sure, there are so many variables to consider when you're thinking about going with a certain plan. Reach out to your IT guys, whoever you work with as far as IT goes, or reach out to us, and we can give you some pointers how to license things properly. So at the end of the day, you save money. It could be something as simple as, like sometimes, you want to sign up for Azure for doing something, but hey, you can get a 50% discount in Azure if you have hybrid benefit. And a lot of times customers don't even know they have hybrid benefit, and they're spending basically 50% more. And this is every month. This is monthly recurring, right? So every month they're spending about 50% more than what they could have been spending because they don't understand licensing. And Microsoft is one of those companies when it comes to licensing, it is, they overcomplicate things. And not, I guess it's kind of rightly so, because they have so many different licensing options. They've tried to consolidate it, but there's still so many. There's the enterprise, then there's the multiple channels, then on top of that, there's just so many different levels. Like just talking about SQL Server, there's standard, there's enterprise, then there is how do you want to price it? Do you want to price it by users, or you want to price it by CPUs? And when you price it by CPUs, is it CPU or is it core? It's just technology has just advanced so much that things are not simple anymore. So reach out to the experts. You can get a PhD just in licensing. So reach out to the experts if you are in the market looking for some licensing. At the end of the day, it will save you a lot of money on a monthly basis, just understanding the ins and outs of how to license certain things. So with that, everybody, have a great day. Hopefully this helps people out. And don't worry about the Copilot. If it was me and I needed Copilot, I would just go with the enterprise plan. Done deal. It's not going to break the bank, but the bang for the buck that you get out of the enterprise plans when Copilot is included, you don't even have to think about it. Just do it.
Yeah. Gotcha. Awesome.
Have a good one, everybody.
You guys have a good one.